My name's Neil Cox. I'm a Professor of Modern and Contemporary Art at the University of Edinburgh, and I'm here because I'm the Director of the Artist Rooms Research Partnership. We're in a consortium with the University of Glasgow and the University of Newcastle, and we generate research around the Artist Rooms collection in all kinds of ways. We have three strands of activity: art and its histories, learning and engagement, and the material collections. That's looking at conservation issues around contemporary art. You can find out what we're up to on our Facebook page, Artist Rooms Research Partnership. And on Tuesday, in Edinburgh, we're having a cafe where we talk about Johann Grimond-Pretz. So all sorts happens. Now, what else do I have to tell you? I have to remind you that there is an evaluation form. There is a paper version for those of you like me that can't stand digital technology. There is apparently an online one. I'm not sure how you find out about that. Somebody will tell me. Well, anyway, you'll find out. I guess you'll be emailed or something like that. Second thing I need to say is there's going to be a follow-up event to this one in Edinburgh on the 25th of March. And I think you'll be contacted about that via Engage, Tate, National Galleries of Scotland. So if you are interested in further discussion on these issues, that's a place to look. So, the rest of my job is to merely introduce our esteemed chair for the afternoon, Rob Greig, who is the Chief Technology Officer at the Royal Opera House in London. And he will tell us more about what he does, I guess, in due course. So, welcome, Rob.
Hi everybody. Are we all over lunch okay? Yeah? Are we all asleep? Is that what it is, that post-lunch? Oh, I've got a full tummy, I don't want to do any more work. Hopefully this is going to be exciting enough to wake you up. This is a real passion of mine, digital in the future. Firstly because it's interesting and it's fun and I love reading about it and engaging in it, and also it's what I do, so it kind of makes my job a bit of a hobby sometimes, which is fantastic. Of course the Royal Opera House is not a visual arts institution. It's a performing arts institution, but I firmly believe, and in fact, Jane and I were only talking about this the other day, that we're a lot closer together than we think. And there's a lot of sharing that we can do cross art form, especially in this digital space, especially in this education space and learning participation, which I think is one of the fantastic places to do all this digital stuff, because it's where we can experiment, it's where we can do R&D, it's where we can learn ourselves as much as those people who we're working with. But I'm not going to go on too much because we've got some great speakers here today to share some of their thoughts and ideas around this particular subject. But I did want to start with one thing that's nothing to do with arts, which is a little mini case study that came up a couple of years ago. And it really reflects to me, firstly, some of the opportunities we have, but also some of the challenges we have. So in the United States, who's familiar with the Super Bowl? Yeah? Half? Not bad. Okay, it's a sporting event, not an arts event, so it loses points already. But it's a major sporting event in the US, and it comes with enormous sponsorship. And the advertising around the Super Bowl is absolutely vital to a lot of organizations, and they spend millions on it. And Ford often advertise. And it was a couple of years ago, and they decided, instead of doing that, they were going to do a social media campaign. And social media is a thing that I think that all of us in the arts have been slow on the uptake. We've just about got on Facebook and Twitter and Google+, and we're doing some interesting things, and we like how many followers we've got. But how are we really making it work for what we do? Question. Ford decided they're going to survey the whole of the US and find who's most influential online. And they found the 100 most influential people on the internet. And these are people that blogged, Facebooked, tweeted, Twittered, Googled, whatever it was. And they gave them a free car. 100 cars. Here's your free car. And they said, but there's a catch. You can keep the car's for life. And not only is it free, brand new Ford Fiesta, it's the prototype before it's even in the showroom. But if you want it, we want you to do missions for us for 100 days. And the missions were, go and buy a pizza, go to the cinema, drive to the Grand Canyon, and blog and tweet and Facebook and social stuff your missions. Yeah? And that's exactly what happened. And it cost them $500,000, so, okay, that's a lot of money, $500,000. Mostly the cost of the cars, as you can imagine. And before the car had even landed in the showroom, they'd sold 8,000 pre-orders. And you can just imagine that the actual financial viability and impact of that is huge in terms of a social campaign. So I went to a presentation similar to this a couple of years ago, and I laid out this case study in a little bit more detail with some slides and what happened. And the response was, in the arts, well, we're not Ford and we don't sell cars. And that was it. I'd like to think we could think a little bit more broadly about that now and how actually something similar to that could really impact what we do. And I'll tell you one last story. Back in 2009, the Royal Opera House did something called Twitter Opera. And it's a lesson in be careful what you wish for. Because what we did is we have a festival every year when we effectively reopen our season in September. It's sponsored by Deloitte. It's called Deloitte Ignite. And for that festival, we were trying to do some digital stuff. So we said, we're going to write an opera on Twitter. And we invited lots of people to write an opera on Twitter. And we thought we'd do it as a side thing. It'd be a nice thing to do. And we'll perform this opera, the libretto, we'll perform it in the Deloitte Ignite Festival. We ended up virtually manning it full-time for 24 hours. There were 250 people constantly adding to the Twitter feed, and it went viral. It became a huge drain on our resources, but it was incredibly successful and won an award. It also did exactly what we wanted it to do, which was to create lots of debate. There was lots of criticism. Lots of people hated it because it was ruining opera. But we loved it. But it's an example of how you can use social media, but also sometimes it can run away with itself and get out of control.